Hi, everybody. This is Gail Carson, and my guest today is a wonderful woman by the name of Shelly Mitchell. Shelly is a nationally recognized and award winning speaker, certified business, and ADHD coach, a former Army sergeant with 2 combat patches, and Cosmopolitan magazine's first fun, fearless female, combined with being a passionate single mom of a teen author, speaker, and entrepreneur with ADHD. And she has over 25 years of very high level real world business experience running multi-million dollar companies. And this unique combination is what sets her apart from any other coach, strategist, or consultant you've ever worked with. She's personally grown a multiple six-figure business herself with an 85% plus retention ratio of her private VIP clients year after year. Well, welcome, Shelly. How are
Wow.
you doing?
I'm doing great. That's the best introduction I've ever had.
Well,
That's
thank
well,
you. Thank you.
considering you've spoken in 5 million countries, it should be. That was great. I loved it. Did I get the recording so I can listen to that every
You
day?
did even put it on your website. How about that?
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. How are you doing?
I am doing great. I am doing great. Just got back last night from the West Coast. But, Shelly, you have been referred to as the marketing queen or the queen of focus. So, what is that all about, and why is it important to pay attention to it?
Well, one of the things that I found when I got into business for myself was that I was having a really hard time, more than usual, staying focused. And then as I was working with clients, and my clients primarily were in the corporate world and they were very successful, and whether they were laid off early or they realized they got to a place in their life that they wanted to use their gifts and passion to go out and make a bigger difference in the world, their biggest challenge was staying focused. And all at the same time, my son had gotten diagnosed with ADHD, and I went to ADHD coaching school for personal reasons, and I realized that the two together were perfect because as entrepreneurs, we're wearing 300 hats, and the more successful you become, the more opportunities you have come your way every single day, as you know, and it's really tough for people to stay focused. So I realized when I was getting people focused, they were able to have like double, triple their productivity and their success. And that's where that comes from. And it's so I've really like honed in on that and given people simple plans. It's really simplifying things so that they can build their business. And having that ADHD experience really made it very possible where a lot of other people don't get that. They try to give you all these complicated systems and everything, and it's really more about keeping you on a straight path.
That is so true. I mean, uh, we all know, we all talk about as entrepreneurs, bright, shiny objects, and that's something we all suffer from. So I absolutely, totally agree with you in terms of, if you're going to be in business, and especially today as a woman in business, you better be focused. But you also talk about the six-figure and beyond focus formula. What is that?
That is a culmination of putting everything together. You know, in corporate, being undiagnosed with ADHD, I had high energy and I was smart. I had every planner in the world. I got certified in Franklin Covey, etc. And then finally figuring out what worked for me and my unique brain style, and also reaching that level where you think you're a failure because all of a sudden you can't do things. Putting all this together and then taking everything that I've learned with my clients who all have their own unique brain styles, I've created or figured out, because it's always been there, this focus formula that's unique to every single person and what goes in it and what to plug into each part of that formula so that you can get focused. Because what works for you is not going to work for me. Cookie cutter doesn't work and magic pills don't work despite what we're being sold out there. So taking this formula and being able to plug in those exact things for you is what's going to create the success that you're going to have versus what goes in those pieces of the formula for me are going to be different.
Well, it's true. I mean, I think, people talk about having systems and that you need to do things a particular way and so forth. But I also think there's a little thing called flexibility in there that has to be there because we are all unique and we are all different and we all like to do things a different way. Yet people will tell you, well, if you just follow this path, it's going to work. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you became an expert in this area.
Well, my parents were entrepreneurs, and I was born into that, and I didn't get attention or anything. And I realized really quick when I was 4 years old, I'd gone out and picked up rocks in the street and sold them door to door that they celebrated me. So I learned how to sell at an early age, but I was out just doing business, starting business, was into everything. And then even during my life, I was into everything. And I flunked out of college after this and went into the Army. And the Army taught me those structures and systems. And I realized that when I had a system that worked for me, I had tremendous amount of success. But then getting out, now I'm sitting there trying to find that problem again. So being raised in the entrepreneurial world, then being in the military, and then getting out and building a successful career in property management, real estate development for other people, I learned all of the different types of systems. And then going to school for ADHD and working with hundreds, probably thousands of people now, I think today. I'm now rolling out like a brand new time management program that's a planner system, and it's energetically aligned. And plus, myself being a combat veteran and with post-traumatic stress disorder, I had to go through some really hard things to figure out that staying up all night doesn't work, and having boundaries actually did support me. And then having to create those types of systems for my son who went off to college is very different than me. That it's just putting it into place and implementing it with each person. There's probably 5 people in the world who do both business and also this focus stuff, and it's so important. It's so incredible. I would not have any success at all if I wasn't able to stay focused. I think people like me, and I don't think you're ADHD, Dr. Gale, but you are so creative and multi-passionate is what we call it. And people who are multi-passionate and brilliant like you can either save the world by lunch or blow it up if they don't have the right focus formula.
I love that. We can either save the world or blow it up. That's great.
All by lunch.
I would like to talk about your combat experience, though, and the military, because I would think, as someone who is ADHD, that's what I was talking about with systems. I mean, the military does straighten a lot of people out. I mean, it does get them focused, and it does get them, on a path. So how did you handle that?
My platoon did a lot of push-ups for me losing my weapon and me being late and me showing up for this. And, I had a really good drill sergeant. I was always in trouble. I painted the entire barracks when I was just starting out because I was late to formation. They'll beat it in you, really. But trying to learn how to turn left, I had a really great drill sergeant. He would put a Bic pen top in my left hand. So when the whole formation, when he would say left face, I would go left instead of go right because I had that big pen top in my left hand. That's not what would work for other people, but he showed me that's what works for me. And so I had key people in my life throughout showing me, like, this is what's going to work for you. And then when I realized that I did that with other people, that's what worked for them. But when I got into a place that I flourished and I used my gifts and my strengths, then I became one of the best in the world at what I did, being selected for White House Communications Agency and all of that. And the same as anybody, when they get into working in their gifts versus trying to fix what they think is broken. Because I don't teach cooking and cleaning, and my son says he knows dinner's ready when the smoke detector goes off. So I stay away from that. But the military taught me to focus on what I was really good at, and that's why they test you and they find out what your strengths are, and they put you in jobs that you're supposed to be good at. Now the whole structure piece, they have their own system for that, of course. But that's, I think that's what it really did for me and does for a lot of people.
Well, it's interesting. It's lucky you had the kind of drill sergeant you had, because you could have had someone that could have totally destroyed you, But
we had some of those, yeah.
And I'm sure, from what you said, your platoon was probably happy to destroy you at times too, because you putting them through all of that. But give us some of the key elements of your 6-figure and beyond focus formula. What's in that?
Absolutely. We all, when we want to go somewhere, we don't know where we've gone. We've never been there before. We'll plug in an address in our GPS, and we get there. And but when we start a business, we don't. We just get in our car that we call a business, and we just start driving, and then we end up at the outlet mall, and we don't understand why. And that's because we didn't have an address to plug into our GPS. So in the focus formula is one, I'd let people know that it's just for them. It's specific and unique for them. But I'll tell you really quick, because I know we don't have a lot of time, the formula is where it's F for focus formula, and then it's U is in there for unique brain style. You have to know what type of brain style you have. It also is V for values. So you need to know what your personal true values are, because even if you and I were in business together, if your values were just slightly different than mine, and we were trying to create a business where I wasn't able to work on my values or work within my values, I would procrastinate. That's the number one thing that causes procrastination, by the way, is when you're trying to do something on your to-do list and it's not within your values and you don't realize it. And values, and then M in the formula is your mission and goals. So you have to have that in there. So plus your unique brain style, and then also a trackable system. And that means if it's not worth tracking, it's not worth doing. And I track my meditation. I track what time I sleep. I track what time I get up. And it's not all perfect tracking, but anything that's in my calendar gets done. And if it's not in my calendar, it doesn't get done. And it was like you were concerned about being able to reach me on the phone. And I said, if it's in my calendar, it will happen. If it's not my calendar, I don't know where it is, so, but I make sure that I create a trackable system. And then going through some of the stuff that I've done lately with the circadian calendar and the human energy system through Mayo Clinic when I got really sick, I've incorporated that in there. So I make sure that all of the time blocking colors are lined up with like chakras. So your medians in your body, so that way you're working the way that your body runs as well, and so you can focus on the right things. And the last part of the formula is knowing that focus is a limited measurable resource. It requires glucose and metabolic resources to focus. So by the end of the day, when you can't focus and you don't know why, it's because you used it up on the wrong thing. And so we teach that, like, we know what we need to focus on, so let's use it up on the right things.
It's interesting because I track as well. I guess I just have always done it. I don't know where I started doing it, but I do keep track of everything I do 7 days a week. And I'm trying always to get better and better and better all the time at what I'm doing that's positive, and why am I doing the other stuff and stop it. But you do get sidetracked. However, you also had the challenge, I'm going to call it a challenge, of being a single mom. So tell us what that was like, because your son has turned out fabulously. I know him, and he's great, and he's doing wonderful things. So tell us a little bit about what it was like raising another ADHD personality.
Well, this is what a lot of people don't understand. So ADHD stands for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, but that's also the medical definition of it. And I'm the classic case and they didn't know about ADHD when I was little. They just told my mom to please not bring me back to the store. But Caleb was very quiet, calm. He never got in trouble. He was very peaceful. I had him in private school when he was younger. He was in the top reading group, and everything was great. I had all the right people in his life, the right structure. He was on the right diet. But then when I became a single mom and we moved, and he's now in public school, he started failing, and I didn't understand why. He never gave me a bit of trouble. Then in high school, he's now tumbling, and I was told he wasn't that smart. And I was very smart. I had been tested through IQ, but I was told that my son wasn't very smart, and I didn't tell him that, of course. I was his biggest supporter, and that he wouldn't amount to very much, and he couldn't stay focused, and also that he couldn't pass math or any of those things. And then I woke up one day as I'm working really hard, trying to build a business and also working full time, and then I get a call that he's been arrested, and I realized I wasn't paying attention. So I didn't have those systems anymore. I didn't have to support people, and I realized I had to start paying attention to him and really focusing on what he was good at versus what he wasn't good at. So helping him build those strengths is the same process I use with my clients and also on myself. So now the reason that it seems or that he is successful is because he's doing what he's good at. If I had him doing things or trying to fit him into a mold that other parents would fit their children